From days of long ago, created by the cosmic legends of the universe. There stands one man, one great man. A man dedicated to preserving all that is good in pop culture. Loved by few, hated by many. Alone in his fortress of awesomeness, he battles fearlessly against the wolf, the evil, the unjust. To right that which is wrong, to stand for justice, to serve all mankind. He is the one, the only, the Comic Relief Crusader. Hey dudes, it's your friendly neighborhood Comic Relief Crusader on live show number 10. So, sorry about the little technical issue. For some odd reason, every time on a Tuesday, close to 6 o'clock, I don't know why, my computer will act up and it drives me just batty. Just drives me completely insane. And then I go into a panic. But lovely as my wife is, she saved me with a cup of coffee so I can calm down. So I'm happy. And to my wife, I say thank you. Victory slurp. There we go. Yeah, so thank you, Snail Messiah and Lunrod are both so far in the Fortress of Awesomeness on this live number 10 live broadcast of Titillating Tuesdays. So, boy, oh boy, what to talk about today? Well, I figure seeing how 10 is a nice round number to, I don't know, to talk about me, I guess. Oh my God, that just sounded full of ego, didn't it? There for a second, I don't know. No, I kind of wanted to talk about, I guess you could say, my plans for, I suppose, for the future. Hail Enrod! So, and of course, I'm going to put you on the board too, Snail Messiah. Yo! Glad that you guys can show up. And here's hoping that more show up. No, as you might well be aware, Saturday I published a video on YouTube, kind of explaining in no uncertain details, I guess, my plans to publish my own comic. If you're familiar, you know, back in the day, fanzines, if you did these, you know, you published your own fanzine because you wanted to create your own comic, and yeah, because it seemed like everybody back in the day was doing it, right? Like, I know independent comics have gone on since, God, like forever, and you know, some of them have not been as big. Some of them have just turned insanely huge, like, I don't know, The Tick or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or, I mean, look what happened with Image along the way, right? That's right. Getting back in the game. Ooh, yeah. So that was the whole reason for the video, because I think about a couple of months ago, I keep everything. I'm like an archivist. That just keeps old media. Oh my god, I'm like probably part pack rat. Of course, that would just, make me a mutant, and I should be joining the X-Men, I guess. So, oh god, I love my wife's coffee. Anyway, um, so yeah, so to kind of give you the whole story, yeah, pack rat, definitely a pack rat, because I just love to keep stuff that I find pretty significant. So back in the day, like the video said, um, there were there were there were five of us in this one neighborhood in Gondola Point, which is kind of part of Quispamsis, which is east of St. John, New Brunswick, in the frozen tundra that is Canada. So, and of course, back in the day, like probably many of you, you collected comics. You liked comic books, and they were just full of fun, full of stories. You had Marvel, you had DC, to a lesser extent, but still fairly noticeable. You had Dark Horse. So, hey, Chauncey Hogarth or Howarth. Oh my god, I can't believe I just mispronounced that. We had a group like that published local anthology comics. Well, that's pretty cool. Nice. But my brother, he was in his senior, actually his last year in high school, and so were a couple of his buddies. And yeah, I had already graduated by then. I was a year ahead of him, but like most guys in our early teens, I suppose one could say, um, back in St. John, there wasn't a lot to do. We, hmm, we had to find jobs, of course, like any semi-responsible young adult. And sorry, I actually have some jam dripping. Another long story. Anyway, um, so we loved comic books, and we decided, well, you know, we read them. Why don't we just make our own in our own universe? And again, this was around 92. And so the Big Seven had left Image, and that was a huge inspiration. And we had a really big comic collection, and just, how it is. Some issues you're not really interested anymore, or some of them you kind of hawk to a local comic book store because you kind of collected them because you knew you were going to make money at it. Remember back in the day, you collected maybe two of each issue because, I don't know, you knew a certain issue was gonna make big money. You kind of played the stock market that way. I still love that coffee. Anyway, so in St. John, we had a big flea market that occurred every Sunday. And actually, that's where I met the missus. And we set up a table, and I think tables were like something like $20 or something like that. 15, $20. I forget. Laid out our comics. We wanted to sell them. And we did. And of course, we had guys show up that were around the same age as us. And, you get to talking to them. You make the connections, right? And that's how we met a bunch of other guys. So I remember we ended up meeting up with a guy named Peter Darling and Ron McRae, and another guy, which was Chuck Ingram. And some of these guys are just friends to this day. And then there was another one, Andrew Murphy. He lives all the way in Japan right now, like Wow. And so we told him what we wanted to do. Because while we were selling comics, we were drawing. And so the guys are like, "Hey, what are you drawing?" It's like, "Well, we're just drawing our characters. We're just practicing because, we plan on publishing our own comics." "Oh, cool. That'd be like so awesome." "Hey, Jack Lumen. How's it going? Nice to see you here." So so that way we kind of upped our ranks, so to speak. So, okay, great. Now we got a bunch of writer artists and we were all inspired by Image. And so um at the time, my mom, she worked as a real estate agent for Prudential. And back, I think it was like maybe, yeah, it was like 93, around 93. What ended up happening is back in St. John, they had their first nerdy convention. And it was actually kind of in the basement of a hotel where it kind of first happened. Hey, it's the King Dolphin himself, Mr. Feliciano. How's it going, Master Dolphin, Your Highness, sir? Nice to see you here. So, so the first con was in a basement in a hotel, and so again, we were selling our nerdy wares, and we wanted to we wanted to kind of get feedback. So the first convention where we were selling our comics, our like the comics that we owned from Marvel and DC and stuff like that, we were getting feedback from people, kind of like doing the whole poll thing, right? What would you think if here in St. John that yada yada yada, if a bunch of us guys, got together and made our own comic books? Well, the feedback was pretty good. So what we did, we studied and we started drawing, and I was more influenced by Japanese manga at the time, and my brother was more inspired by, say, Bob Layton and Iron Man and stuff like that. And so we ended up coming up with our own characters and our own little storylines and our own universes. So by April of 1993, it was myself and I believe my brother. We had our own first issues that were out, and we used the photocopier at where my mom worked at Prudential real estate agents. And oh my god, I I must have printed like maybe 50 comics. 50, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was about 50 comics. And I don't know how much toner I used. But I figured out how to get the pages, front to back, just basically facing the right way and all that. And my mom's like, God, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. Hey, Mr. Dave CT is here. How's it going, bud? Nice to see you here tonight. Um, and if you all can, give a like, give a comment. Well, I suppose you can't now because it's live chat. Um, so anyway, uh, this came to the second comic convention in St. John, and so we had a couple of issues, and we had our own table, and I think I even made a banner, and I think even a large poster, which I probably still have to this day because, like I said, I keep everything. And we had a guest star, the author of the guy that wrote the book Enemy Mine, and I keep on forgetting the guy's name. I have to actually look it up. So forgive me if I am typing it, because obviously I want to be accurate. So Barry Longyear, that's right, that's the dude, Barry Longyear. Of the guy of the same name. So the one that with with God, who was it again? It was Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. And Louis Gossett Jr. played the alien, right? So it was a good movie. Even to this day, I really do enjoy that movie. So anyway, he lives in Maine, Barry Longear, and he came by, and he was sitting at a table, and he was kind of really enjoying this, and we were kind of also in a big fancy place for the second convention, and that's how I ended up collecting a lot of anime on video cassettes when you could pirate them back in the day, right? Nobody really gave a damn. So I was dealing in black market anime, I suppose you could say. Uh, so I approached him and I asked him, Mr. Longyear, a bunch of guys and myself, we've just gotten together and we're trying to write our own comic books. Could you? And I was really nervous. And I'm like, can you give me a critique of my first issue? And I thought he was just going to say, no way, kid, just go away and leave me alone. But no, he was actually really, really nice. He was a really nice guy. And he said, yeah, sure, hand it over. So I handed it over. And mind you, this is like the very first time I actually wrote. But I've always been partial to, maybe one day even being a teacher, an English teacher, and teaching how to write and stories like that. So I guess, somewhere buried deep inside, I've always been a storyteller as well. So I was really nervous. He looked at it and he's like, you know what? It's not too bad. But you want to write your stories as if you know nothing about the characters and you have to be told what's going on. Because you have to remember about the reader. And your reader knows nothing about your characters. He said, you might know everything, what the situation is, what they like, what they don't like. You might know everything about your characters, but your reader never does. Your reader doesn't know snot about them. You might know everything, but they don't. So you have to write it that way. And that word of advice will stick with me to the day I die. And that was probably my first and maybe my best information that I ever got. And since then, I made a couple of other issues after that, and I still have them. And then, one of my best friends at the time, he started putting issues out, and we ended up getting a radio interview with CBC Radio up here in Canada. So, excuse me as I'm drinking my coffee. So, we gained a certain amount of popularity, and unfortunately, because we weren't we weren't disciplined enough, things kind of fell apart. Unfortunately, we were thinking about, if we get big enough, who's gonna be the head guy, and so unfortunately, a disagreement kind of broke out, and some people thought I should. Some other people thought that my brother should, and it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I said, like, I thought of this, plus I'm the oldest one, you know, I'll do it. It's like, no, 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 I should because I actually kind of thought of it first. It's like, no, you didn't. So, like the Beatles, we ended up breaking up. So I went with one of my friends and maybe a couple of other guys, and and the band split up. So that was the big end of Drop Off Comics. So um it was kind of unfortunate, but oh, the possibilities. But that's why I also became a graphic designer as well, because I still wanted to draw. Ah, he said as he swallowed the last of his coffee. Um so for quite a while growing up, being the responsible adult that I kind of sort of am at times, when you have kids, obviously they come first and you put aside, what you want to do. And then it becomes a matter of, you know, putting aside what, yeah, like I said, like everything that you wanted to do and, for the good of the family. Well, I put off drawing for a long time, and it was all about going out and working, plus getting a job in graphic design, and I was working for other people doing graphic design, and then after that, it was trying to make my business fly as well as also work. Yeah, I know exactly, Lenrod. Responsible adulting, yuck. Well, it wasn't all too bad, but I know it's a joke anyway, so um you make those sacrifices for your family, for your kids, and it's worth it, and I don't regret a minute of it whatsoever. So one day my mom shipped out some of my stuff out of the house. You know what, maybe I should share some of the former artwork that I did, because that's what this is all about, right? So yeah, of course I would be foolish if I didn't share some of my old stuff, because that would just be greedy, and I'm not really about that. I am I am that nice type of guy. So, um, oh, are you do you got to take off, Mr. Feliciano? If you are, well then, good night and have a pleasant sleep, and say hello to the missus. And yeah, that thing that we talked about, those couple of things that we talked about, get a hold of me if you still want to. So, and well, I'll be Mr. Pop Culture Mechanic. I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. How's it going? Nice to see you drop in here. Um, so yeah, have a good night, King Dolphin, Your Majesty. Be safe and all that jazz. So anyway, back to my ramblings. Yeah, so as I am getting ready to bring out some of my old stuff, I had ideas, and like I was saying, yes, and if you want to leave a link for that, I shall add it into the chat later on, Mr. Feliciano. I would suggest subscribing to this guy. He does amazing interviews with a lot of awesome people out there. I shall try to get the link on there to help a bro out, because that's the type of nice guy that I am. So don't you worry, dude. If you cannot find it in time, I shall. Anyway, so I keep on segueing. So yes. So I've been doing my graphic design for years and working out of the house. And so lately, when my mom sent out a lot of my old artwork, what ended up happening is I looked back, and it's like, you know what? My now my older kids, they looked at the stuff and they're like, "Hey, Dad, how come you don't draw anymore? This stuff is like really, really cool." And like, well, you know, doing the adult thing, doing the dad thing. And so, I try to keep up with it on and off. But unfortunately, I just didn't. So until maybe a year ago, most of the kids are out of the house now. And so we have our youngest. And that's the great thing about also having kids, is that you can be a kid again. So here, this is one of the covers that I came up with shortly after our little, I suppose you could say, our breakup of Drop Off Comics. I came out with a character, was supposed to be called Kinky Warrior. And I know that sounds rather cheesy. It sounds kind of sexist. And I know the proportions are wrong. So hey, don't knock me. Anyway, thank you, Crimson Toys. I appreciate it. Oh, and also nice to see you drop in. So hail to you, Crimson Toys. Awesome gamer. So if you want to check him out, check him out. Pleasant to have you here. So this was supposed to be the first page of Kinky Warrior. God, I can't believe I came up with that name. Kinky Warrior. And again, it was supposed to be frick. Thank you. So yeah, and again, I was manga inspired. You know, I I wrote a lot of manga back, or wrote a lot of manga, read a lot of manga back in the day, and this was around the time when Ghost in the Shell came out by Masamune Shiro, the very first series. So that's what I came up with, with a style. So you can obviously see there was a little bit of inspiration going on there. So yeah, guns and swords, because back in the 90s it was all about guns and swords, and thankfully they weren't Rob Liefeld guns and swords. So but yeah, so this was supposed to be the whole splash page kind of thing, right? So and then later on I kind of had to add in the lettering. And so I was kind of experimenting with some of the lettering here. So, and I had a whole story planned out. So sometimes I wish I had a desk job. Most guys in my job would say, the money, the hours. Right. Kabuka Bushido is my name, which in Japanese would translate to Kinky Warrior, right? So that was the lettering. So latex bodysuits for the win. Damn right, dude. Damn right. Because again, the 90s. So, yeah. What can I say? So, Sale Messiah. Very toxic of you. I love it. Macintosh front. You know what? I don't remember. I honest to God, I really do not remember what font I used. You know what? It kind of does look like Macintosh font. I really, honest to God, I cannot remember what font I used. So right here, of the top half, where you kind of see her, her head against this window, and it was supposed to be a warehouse. I kind of did, kind of like, a little bit of tracing, because obviously I was thinking, well, okay, she has dark hair and it's like nighttime out, it's all going to blend together. So I kind of did this whole outline of the thing, and you know what? It kind of actually did work out for the best, and I kind of liked it. I I don't know if I was kind of inspired by some comic at the time. I really honestly don't know. Um, but yeah, that was the first page to this story. So let me see if I can. So I didn't letter the rest of the story. Hey, Phantom Outsider. Nice to see you. I'm sorry you weren't first in this chat either. So I'm sorry. I just had to say that. However, you did beat me in the last chat. So you were ahead of me. So kudos to you. So anyway, um Okay, so in the second page, this is how I learned to also tell a story without words, because the action alone should be able to tell the story for you as well. And I think this is also the weird thing. Maybe it was just because I was really paying attention to how comics were drawn. Uh, aside from just the storytelling with words, but storytelling should also be with pictures. So maybe it was because, see, my brother was a big G.I. Joe comic collector. I was, Transformers and a bunch of other stuff, but my brother loved G.I. Joe. And I think it was, if any of you know, I think it was issue 21, the one that they called the silent issue. And it's an issue with Snake Eyes. And literally, no words are spoken because, as you know, if you're a G.I. Joe fan, Snake Eyes doesn't talk whatsoever. So the whole issue was essentially he has to talk. He has to let his actions talk for him. So I was paying attention to that. So obviously, as you can see, and this is, at this time it would be the second page. So obviously, as you can see, she hears something, she just leaps into action, pew pew pew, bullets all over the place. And I'm sorry, I did draw a Rob Liefeld gun as the bullet hits the sword. Ding! And now that I look at it, that pating should be a little bit higher on the sword. Oh well, I was young and foolish, so it doesn't really matter. And then slice, and I was kind of experimenting with kind of cross hashing, I guess, at the time. And dude's hand is cut off because evil bad guy, right? And what did I do for the blood splurches? Somebody did suffer some damage. Yeah. So hate to be in that guy's shoes, but he was literally disarmed. Yuck, yuck, yuck. What I did is I had some India ink that my mom had from like forever ago, and she didn't use it, and I asked if I could have it. Um, yeah, and the pages did suffer some water damage, just being old and stuff like that, which is a shame. So, but that's okay. I mean, hey, they still survived, and I got them photocopied, so they are forever in digital format for me. But what I did with the digital ink is I took a few little drops on the page, and then with a straw, essentially what I did is I just went, oops, sorry, I can't do that really. I went, breathed through the straw, and that's how I did the little streaks. And Phantom Outsider, Comic Relief Crusader. Do you remember the amazing art in, I believe it was a Black Panther, the Shroud and Cloak fighting in a coal mine? You know what? I don't think I do. I'm gonna have to look that up now, because now you've piqued my curiosity. So, is it like similar to this? Because I really have no idea. Or the Winnebago Snowbird Moon Knight fighting in a snowstorm. I think I might have seen this one somewhere. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like looking out for a polar bear in a snowstorm with a what was it? With something I can't remember exactly what now, but I know the joke. Yeah, basically it was a black panel. The other side was a white panel. Oh, okay. You know what? Now that you've jogged my memory, I kind of think I remember. Wow. Yeah, I think I might remember. Um, but yeah, I love those. I love those. It was, you know what? And I was also, and it reminds me also of a Samurai Jack episode. I can't remember if it was like season 3 season 2 or season 3, where he has to fight this robot that was black, and he's like basically all white, and there was just shades of just black and white, and then sometimes they would cross over each one of them into a light area or a dark area. And and it's that kind of storytelling that I love, right? Where nobody really, for a long time, and that's why I love those Samurai Jack episodes as well, because for a long time there would be some episodes where not even a word is uttered, right? Or barely a word is uttered. And yeah, man, it's stories like that that I really, really like really like, because again, actions do speak louder than words. So, um, yeah, Samurai Jack was so freaking cool. It totally was. Uh Genny Tartakovsky, just I think he's a master storyteller. Just freaking phenomenal. Um yeah, exactly. He can do no wrong. Totally. Have you seen his Primal? That's another prime example. The that short-lived flick Primal, with the caveman and the dinosaur, and again, I mean, aside from, like, or grunting or anything like that, or just, yelling, because I mean, let's face it, he's a caveman. It's all the actions that speak for themselves. And I think that's what really makes him such a awesome storyteller, because everything is visual. And it's almost like you can kind of visualize um the conversation through action, and that's what I like about it. And Phantom Outsider, they did a mainly white issue of Alpha Flight with Snowbird and the team in a blizzard called Snowblind. Oh, okay, okay. You know what? Was that when John Byron did the issues? Because if that's the case, then I really want to look it up. So so back to this. Yeah, so that's what I did. I just splattered some India ink and then blew it with a straw, and that's kind of how I came up with the streaks. So on to, let's see. So page 3. Oh my god. So yeah, so obviously our heroine has got the bad guy. And it's like, yeah, yeah, tell me the info that I want to know. And then skewered right through the head. And then we have our looming mysterious figure. Ooh, who could that be? I don't know. Because I really did not. I just wanted to draw some sort of foreboding figure. You know what? To this day, I don't even know who the main bad guy was, but I guess it was supposed to be this. And then, obviously, because she's well trained in the ninja arts, she notices that somebody's looking, only to disappear. Whoosh. So, and so again, with the let's see if I can zoom in here, with the tracing around the mysterious figure. And you know what? Now that I see it now, I made a horrible mistake, because these lines here for the window, which obviously is for the skylight, is going behind the figure. Oh my god. Yeah, I would draw these little things like Sergio Aragones, that does Gru and the Mad Magazine things. Drawing little pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, I would end up drawing little things like that. Ow. Because yeah, that would hurt. So, you know what? Now that I think about it, did I draw any on the other pages? Because it's been so long since I've done this. Okay. No, I didn't. Okay, whatever. So, yeah, so that was a little bit of a clerical error, I guess, that I made. Um, totally shanked. My my eyes are blind, but I can see. It's a good sci-fi story. So, um, yeah, the what the were just one panel jokes. Yeah, they were too, weren't they? Yeah, most of the time. So yeah, so that was that. Oh, Demon Window King. That's a name. I'm gonna have to give you royalties if I ever do put out this story again. And there you go. So you named him. And then bam! Somebody kicking in the window, or the door. So, and then our heroine looks and it's like, oh my god, it's the cops. Well, it's supposed to be the cops, just so you know, right? So, and again, just I try to fill up a background. It's supposed to be like either an empty building or a warehouse. I couldn't figure it out at the time. Yeah, dude, I should have added more blood probably on that. So, yeah, I cut up hand and stuff like that. So, oh, I guess I did have some dialogue in there. Hey, you. So, yes, I can pretty much almost draw a sneaker. I should have probably made it a boot. I don't know. Anyway, kick in the door. And then, yeah. So these were supposed to be my cop characters. And kicking the door so hard he broke the windows. That's right. I kind of, yeah, maybe high heels would have done. I don't know. The fuzz, man. It's the fuzz. So yeah, so these were supposed to be my two cop characters, right? So try to come up with a badge and stuff like that. And just to also let you know, like I haven't drawn a lot at this point. I only had like maybe 3 issues to this point of my earlier comics. You know what? And I should probably show that at some point. I got to get those scanned. So yeah, so these were supposed to be my cop guys. And of course, because she's supposed to be, this ninja guy, smoke bomb, right? Just like Batman, disappear in a puff of flatulence. So, oh yeah, my little McFarlane spider. That's what I called them back in the day whenever I had to put something like that in there. My McFarlane spiders. So, poof, gone in a puff of smoke. Pocket sand. That's right. Exactly. Blinded. Oh, God. No. So, yeah, smoke bomb goes off. And to this day, I really like how I did these nighttime scenes. And I traced everything, this whole silhouette thing. And skylights open a little bit, so you still see light coming through. And yeah, this was like me, mid-90s at the time. And then down the side of the building. So, and you know what? Some people would say this is kind of like Frank Miller-ish, like with Batman. But you know what? I never did read those issues, those Frank Miller issues, where he did something similar. Not until later on, not until like after I did this. So now she's back at her hideout, and Love the Moon came out great. Yeah, it did, didn't it? Come to think of it, yeah. Oh, you know what? I kind of missed it on this panel. But you know what? Yeah, I just came up with a circle, and I thought just some random kind of squiggly lines to try to make it roundish, and and kind of random because when you look at the moon, it's obviously not a pattern of any sort. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was all right. So then the heroine, obviously, there's a TV screen, and you know what? If I were to do this today, I'd have to make it a flat screen because, yeah, these were computer monitors at the time and TVs back in the day, of cathode ray tubes. So, and let's have a look here. Yeah, modern 90s art. There we go. This was supposed to be like a dead palm tree kind of thing right here. And oh boy, yeah. So now we have our Windows 98 computer in the background here with disk drive and power button and stuff like that. So, just desk right here with a obviously a drawer and trying to shade it a little bit and those 90 boo. Oh no, wait, I can't even say that probably, or else I'm gonna get canned. So yeah, it has a face. It does, doesn't it though? Um so yeah, I would the vents on the side of the TV, exactly. Thank you. Because not a lot of people would probably not notice that. Yeah, all monitors in StarCraft were cathode ray tubes, and that took place in the 25th century. Yeah, exactly right. You look back at this stuff, it's like, oh my god. Yeah, this was early 90s, so Windows 3.1. Well, actually, my first comic, which was in 93, was called The Forever Wars. So it was an entirely different story. This story that I came up with, this was around, I think it was around 95, maybe 96. So, yeah, so probably Windows 95, maybe at that point. So after the mission, she's like relaxing in her hideout, but she's talking to somebody on the screen, and obviously she's kind of pissed off. So this is this guy right here on the tube. He's our gangster guy. Look at that nose. Now that's a nose. So Windows 95, yeah. Yeah, so Windows 95. So this guy was actually supposed to be our main bad guy. And I'm gonna tell you the whole story in a minute here. So, and the reason why she's kind of ticked off. So this is our main villain here. And yeah, with that crew cut, that marine kind of crew cut kind of thing. So turns out the monitor or changes the channel, not exactly sure what. And there's this chip right here. And this kind of plays into the whole thing. Now, I kind of made a mistake here because she's obviously staring at the screen because of this chip. And she's like pointing because the point of dialogue was going to be she's reminded about this chip because this guy up here is using her. And this chip in the head was supposed to be, her pointing at it like, I'm going to get you out of my head. So this whole story, because I never did tell you what the story was about, is that she is supposed to be I suppose you could say a hitman in this case, a hired sword, but against her will, that she has to work for the mafia. Let's put it that way. So she was captured, and a chip was put in her head, and that if she didn't do what they wanted, then press of a button, kaboom. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh, this sounds like Suicide Squad that was just put out a few years ago. The one with Will Smith and, obviously the one now, right? I'm going to just tell you, I have no idea if there was a Suicide Squad comic back in the 90s, or even if this was introduced in Suicide Squad, if there were issues like that in the 90s. Now, obviously, I heard of Suicide Squad, but I was not a big DC Comics reader. I never really was. I was a Marvel guy. And then, when the Big Seven left, I was an Image guy and I dropped Marvel. So, yeah, I haven't seen Suicide Squad, never will. No, so you know what? So this was my idea for a comic. And I would like to put this out now, this storyline. But then I'm thinking that a lot of people would be like, "Oh, you're just ripping off of Suicide Squad," because now that that thing has been introduced in the movies, you know where I'm going with this now, right? So I would like to put out this comic because this I never did finish. So this was supposed to be the whole plot, the whole storyline of a woman that has like mad skills in martial arts. She has the training, but they're being used against her will. She doesn't want to do what she's doing, but she was captured by these bad guys. And oh, and Snail Messiah, you gotta go. Yeah, be safe, everyone. Time for the little snails to go rest. Yeah, dude, thank you for dropping by. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, have a good sleep, and leave a like and spread the word, true believer. I appreciate you coming by. You have a good night, and we shall talk to you soon. So, night, Snail Messiah. So, so that was going to be the whole plot, right? Woman against her will, with mad skills, that was captured by the mafia. A bomb implanted basically in her head that if she didn't do what they wanted, click, boom, off goes her brain, right? And but she was going to try to find a way to get this out of her head without them knowing. And that was supposed to be the whole plot line for this story. So to the next page and to the next job. So she now has another job that she has to do, another artifact that she has to steal. So she's looking in through another skylight. And again, there's another moon for Lenrod to like. So yeah, so again, it was back to the whole. I suppose you can almost kind of call it cell shading in a way. I suppose with the tracing and whatnot. But we got this mysterious figure behind her. Boom, kick to the back. Crash, fall through. Oh my god, no, falling to my doom. And so this is kind of like where the action was supposed to take place. So it was pretty much at this point where I really started to not finish it, and I was kind of having troubles with this panel right here. So looking up, oh, who kicked me, and then taking a glimpse, it's like, oh, somebody's behind me. And so this was going to be another bad guy to that she has to beat, because the stuff that she was going to end up stealing from other bad guys, from like say rival clans or rival gangs or whatever, they were all going to have like their own, either their own specialty bad guy or super powered bad guy, like as she is the henchman for the this mafia gang that she's been taken by. Others would have the same thing, right? So it'd be like a battle of skills and fisticuffs of other rival bad guy super beings, or just super ninjas or whatever. so this was supposed to be the rival for this thing here, and it was supposed to. That hat, yeah, thanks. Isn't that a bad hat? uh Looks like that guy who shoots lightning in Big Trouble from Little China. Oh my god, you know what? Frig, now that you mention it, it does look like him. Oh frig, I haven't even seen that movie in like forever. You know what? Now that you think about it, it almost looks like Raiden from the movie for the movie as well from Mortal Kombat. Oh my god, what was I thinking back then? This is like, almost 30 years ago. So, yeah, it was like the big bad guy. It's like, yeah, like, so bring it on. You cannot steal from my master. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Ka-ching, ka-ching. And then, let's see here. Was that all the issues? Yeah, so that was the last page. Um, that was done. So I pretty much had 9 pages done of this issue. And so this was like the last one that really never got completed. So I was a little bit disappointed. But it's been kind of sitting in my archives. I suppose you could call it that. Yeah, it does love that movie. Yeah, that's an awesome movie, isn't it? So yeah, or Raiden, yeah, from Mortal Kombat. Um, Shoot, now I have to watch that again. I know. Thank you, Lenrod. Hey, it was an awesome movie, so I don't mind watching it all over again. Um, so yeah, so what's been going on is I'm really wanting to revisit a lot of this stuff. So what I've been doing, as you can see here, I'm just kind of like, for example, taking the first page and just kind of redrawing it and like revamping it, I suppose you could say, till for now. And so if I do this character again for a book, there's a couple of things that I might want to revamp. So right now kind of added a little bit extra kind of utility belt, because to replace that this thing that's on her right leg. I don't know what it was, but now that I'm older, things got to have function, and it has to be. It's got to be a utility of some sort. So, making the sword longer, for example. I don't know if she's going to use a gun again, but that's right. You can never have enough belts. Because Rob Liefeld has proven that to a T, hasn't he? So, um, yeah, no, I was thinking about maybe doing this character over again, because I never did finish the story, and I did want to see where I was going to go with this. How is she going to solve this problem with a bomb basically stuck in her head, and not have this, the mafia find out that she's trying to remove it. So I wanted to do it in such a way where she would leave clues behind for the police that you saw in that previous page, leaving either a clue or a note to try to get the help that she needs. But the problem is that, with the bomb in the head kind of thing, are people going to think, oh, well, you're just, ripping off of Suicide Squad. But like I said, back in the day, I didn't read Suicide Squad. I didn't know about it. And then the movie came out, and it's like, that's pretty similar to my character, to what I wanted to do. So, so I kind of like was trying to remake it. The whole warehouse scene with where it actually looks like a warehouse now. um, so kind of changed the hand, made it look, this one, at least with the gun, a little bit more proportional, and uh, out of the utility belt. And so looking back on some Japanese art, to get a little bit of inspiration and whatnot. So because a little inspiration does not hurt. Let's see here. So I was like thinking of different little poses of stuff to come up with a cover. So I do a lot of doodling, and Yeah. That's this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And it's not easy trying to think of something. Um Especially when you want to kind of like revamp it still. So, how do you change it? How do you change an idea that you had and make it new again? So, try not to go through a little bit of a, I don't know, a creative block or creative dead end. Um, just to try to come up with something pretty cool and pretty original. I'm gonna have to show you the old comics at some other point. But yeah, because I don't want to be the spectator anymore. I actually just wanted to kind of have fun doing my thing. And I don't know, maybe just along the way, hopefully find some other guys that just want to do the same thing and do the same thing that I want to do. And who knows, maybe make a comic company out of this whole thing all over again. Um, plus on top of that, I was approached by somebody that some of you guys might know. I don't want to give any names out, but about maybe adapting their book into comic book form, and talking with another person that some of you do know. Um, I don't know his name, but a lot of you know who he is, and he hangs out on Clobby's channel, and pretty known as being one that's been in the industry. And if you know who I'm talking about, you're probably going to mention it in the chat anyway. And so, yes, it is Hungry Boy. So I've been talking with Hungry Boy as well. And looking for some advice and whatnot, and I showed him my work and he's like, dang, the work that you've done in the past. And I showed him some of the stuff I was doing now. Um, he's like, you know what? It's like 74 Byron, evolving into 78 Byron. If some of you get what I mean by that, then that's quite the compliment, because what I'm doing right now, for example, this was for a YouTuber. I probably have shown some of you guys for a YouTuber that goes by the name of Pope Metallicus the First. So this is actually his guitar right here. Zoom in a little bit on this, but right here, he actually has like a chainmail guitar strap. So this is kind of like what it is. And as he is Pope Metallicus, this is his guitar, and he essentially wanted him in a Pope hat. You know what? I know there's a lot of Pope hats out there, so I just had to pick one, and so I just picked that one. And this is, if you go check out his channel, this is what he commissioned me to do. And so this is what I showed Hungry Boy. And that's why he made that compliment. It's like 74 Byron becoming 78 Byron, John Byron. So, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ledrod. Yeah, that pick is sick. Oh, God. Yeah. Phantom Outsider. The Liefeld method. Give everyone lots of pouches. Pouches for everyone. Pouches inside pouches. God. You know what? I think there was actually a comic. What was it? Pouch Man? Pocket Man? Something like that. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to find that for you guys. Yeah. Yeah. What the hell is up with people with freaky names on YouTube? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be called the comic relief crusader and, without getting some sort of attention. So I guess that's why you got to stand out somehow. I don't know. so, um, it is quite the compliment to get, especially from somebody as, proliferant as Hungry Boy, whoever he might be. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna Pocket Man because I gotta. There we go. There we go. That's that's what I want. Okay, I'm sharing this, guys, because because I love you all, and you need to be tortured with me. There we go. Okay, I'm sharing this. There we go. The pouch. Pockets everywhere. There you go. That's what you guys get for the joke. And you know what? Yeah, it is a Liefeld variant. So, oh God, if I could, I would. You know, Pocket Man, Pouch Man, attacking people with pouches, beating them to death. It's beautiful. Oh, frick. Oh my God. Oh, wait a minute. Do we actually have any derivative Jill? Is she here? She is. Hello, any derivative Jill. Nice to see you tonight. Excellent to see you. Darling, you did a fantastic job on your Orville chat. So, and for those of you here, yes, please subscribe also to Anti-Derivative Jill. She does an awesome show, and every week she talks about, and especially now that the new season of the Orville is out, about the Orville. So, if I can find, you know what, because I really don't have anybody like modding at this moment, because obviously I am nowhere close to 500 or even 1,000 subscribers. Go ahead and just put your link in the description, so hopefully people will subscribe to you, because I am all about the helping. So, did notice her? Well, now you did, Dave. Now you did. So, Pocket Man. Yeah. When I first saw that, I'm like, oh my God, you know what? This has got to be a joke. This is like totally got to be a joke. Um, but yeah, no, it's about being inspired with just comics. Just I've always just wanted to tell a story, and it's not really so much an ego thing. It's because you should do it because you love doing it, because it's fun, and because you want to share something as creative as that with a bunch of people. Just kind of share your imagination, and you know and just be a creative type of dude. I am looking for your link, Jill, because I promised I would. So I'm gonna add it into the chat so people that haven't subscribed to you can do. There we go. So you people can subscribe to Anti-Derivative Jill and partake in all her musings. She is a smart gal, and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, a fantastic mathematician. And also because, as I promised our King Dolphin as well, I am also sharing his his YouTube channel as well, so that hopefully anybody new in the chat can subscribe to him as well, because he does have a lot of guest stars, and he does like to spotlight a lot of people in the YouTube community to also get their story out and share in the plethora of awesomeness that is all of us out there. So, yes, we Lord, yes, sing along with the antiderivative Jill song. See, now we gotta make one up. I guess now it's up to me to make one up, I suppose. So yeah, that's the plan, I suppose. To bring it back, because when I noticed, when I was looking, when my kids were going through the old stuff that I created, I noticed the date on it, and it was like April 1993. And maybe if the lighting is good, April 13th, 1993. And I'm going to share here. Let's see. I'm going to turn on the cam. This was the first issue. Excuse me for the messy background. It is mostly my wife's stuff, and we're going through things. But this is the first issue that I came up with, Forever Wars. All new title, a free poster inside. Yes, I included a poster inside. All new action from Drop Off. So that was the first issue, and let me see if I can find the second one here. Oh my god. Okay. And second issue. So and this was May. Was it May 19th, 1993? Why me? Ah, come on, there's only 20 of them. So that was essentially my brand of humor. So and I even had sponsors. On top of that, there was a guy that lived in the Quispamsis area that had a shuttle that went all the way into the city, all the way into St. John. And I actually got him to sponsor our comics. And when I printed them up, I printed up his schedule of going into town. And he said, "How much you want me to sponsor you?" And I'm like, whatever you feel like giving. And it paid for paper and ink and stuff like that. And yeah, and Dave, yeah, it just hit me. And all my Transformers stream chats, have seen 5 maybe ever. Well, you know what? Hey, if you got a channel, go for it. Share away. And if anybody wants to subscribe to Dave's channel, go for it. So the logo on the lower left corner looks like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 logo. Does it really? Honestly, because this is the early 90s. You know what? I never even heard of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Honest to God. Where I lived, like we had cable, and there was like a few US channels that we got, but I never even knew about Mystery Science Theater 3000. Honestly, I did not. I had no idea. I'm trying to remember how we also came up with the name Drop Off Comics. And I think I might remember how. Let me just bring it up. There we go. Trying to think now. Yes, it was $1 US, $1.25 Canadian. Because we wanted to charge as much as Marvel and DC. We were hoping we were gonna get. I don't want to say we were hoping we were gonna get rich, but we had high hopes, I suppose. I think we came up with the name Drop Off Comics. I kind of came up with the logo for it. And like I said, I was a Marvel guy. And so, I kind of wanted to make the box elongated like a Marvel, at the time, side box, I suppose you could call it. And usually around that time they had a character inside, their upper box, I suppose you could call it. Um so how did we come up with the name? I think, oh, 1 second here. Phantom Outsider, you might be interested in my brother's channel. He is also He is also a working comic artist and reviews Transformer toys. Is that the one that's in, what was it, Malaysia or the Philippines or somewhere? Because if it is, you know what? I did subscribe to him. I did. If that's the one that I'm thinking of, he's, on the other side of the Pacific. If I do remember correctly, and if he is, then yeah. Then I did. Yes, Taiwan. He's in Taiwan. That's right. Yes. Then I did subscribe to him. Believe it or not. So yeah, and you know what? On occasion I do actually check out his channel. So no, I don't have a channel to watch. Please don't sub. Was talking about other channels. I sub to, I don't make videos. Can't. Oh, well, okay. Well, you know what? If you do one day, then we will all subscribe. So but I think how I came up with the logo, yeah, being inspired with Marvel, I think because it was like the 90s, it was something like, yeah, the comics that we want to come off, I mean, we want this going off the deep end, man. It's going to be like, totally awesome. So I think that's, with kind of like talk like that, I think that's how we came up with the name Drop Off, right? Like drop off the deep end, right? Because I think back in the day, everything had to be extreme. Everything was extreme. Uh, so I'm pretty sure that's how we came up with the name Drop Off Comics. And yeah, that's how we came up with the name. And so again, so for the longest time, we just it just that was it. It went nowhere. It just stopped. And didn't use the name again, ever again. So I thought, well, okay, you know what? I'm gonna revive it. I'm gonna make it happen. So I kind of remade the logo because obviously I'm a graphic designer. That's what I do. And yeah, so I came up with this, and it's, oops, came up with that. That's right. All that 90s too, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, everything had to be extreme in the 90s, didn't it? Dear God. Damn Liefeld. Extreme Studios. Crimson Toys, Naughty Truth of Mine. I've never read a comic. Really? I am shocked and bewildered, and therefore you need to be flogged. How dare you, sir? I'm kidding. Or am I? You know what? No, that's okay. If you never read a comic, that's cool. I mean, obviously, I imagine you must have seen the Marvel movies, which are from comics. So, this logo, I approve. Why, thank you, good sir. Uh, not even a Garfield comic? Yeah, like not even from the papers. I'm not trying to pick on you, obviously. I'm really honestly not. Yeah, I mean, that's almost kind of shocking. I found out last year that Transformer comics were different than the show. Kind of interested in reading them. They're not bad. You know what? Do yourself a favor, because I know that Crimson Toys is a Transformers fan like me. Okay, Listen, dude, this is what I will do for you, okay? If you want, I have all the Transformer Marvel comics on digital, okay? If you want, I'll send them all to you and you can like read those ones from the 80s. And then if you want to read more, then I got the Dreamwave comics. I got all of them on digital. And then if you want to do IDW, they're not too bad starting out. And then it starts eventually about maybe halfway through. So far their run, it starts getting a little woke here and there. So, not to spoil it for you. But you know what? If you want all the Marvel comic runs, hey, I'll send them to you, dude. I have no problem doing that. You know I don't. And then you know what? I might maybe no, don't do that, Linrod. No. Stop it. Nuh-uh. Transformers were here first. It's those guys that just need to change. So, oh my god. No, they're not those kind of Transformers. God, you're ruining for me. Um But yeah, you know what? Because it was about Bob Budiansky that Hasbro approached, and he came up with all the bios for all the Transformers, and so that's why they are the way they are, and they've stood the test of time. You know what? And I'll even send you, I don't know, like maybe some of the Infinity Gauntlet stuff from back then, and I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there. So, um, God, a lot of good stuff. Lot of good stuff. Dave, yeah, the best comic were in the 90s. The women were Amazon. Yeah. You know what? There is no argument there, especially with like a lot of the independent comics. Um so yeah, so this is the plan. This is the plan that's going to happen. Um so you know what? Just in case, what I will do, this is the radio interview that a bunch of us did back in the 90s. So I'm going to add it to the stream and I'm just going to let it play.
Late bus to let you know about this morning. This is in District 8, bus number 137. Carla Gamble's bus is running an hour late this morning. That's bus 137, Carla Gamble's, running an hour late this morning on the way to school. Right now, 16 minutes before 8, and a couple of local brothers found their comic book collections were getting a little expensive. So they decided that since they could draw, why not start making their own comics with their own characters and storylines? Well, before they knew it, the brothers hooked up with a dozen others and started Drop-Off Comics. And they now have hundreds of characters and spend all their free time working on their strips. Our writer-broadcaster Ann Sullivan went by their studio to talk to some of the fellas who make up Drop-Off Comics.
Little boys and girls to tie towels around their necks, pretending they were the Cape Crusader. But that was another time, another place. So is the superhero a dying breed? Not at Drop-Off Comics, where a small, gallant band of nifty lads is fighting for the underdog. Sean and Mike Lorber work in their cool, dark underground den that doubles as their parents' basement in Gondola Point. But in this little world, with 12 other guys, they are responsible for the safety and future of millions of lives in hundreds of universes. Sean's creation is a superhero named Kevlar.
He's a 20th century Earthman who has been secretly teleported through time and space to a planet called Genesis, which is now overrun by cyborgs, which are led by their evil leader, Merak, who basically, he has the power to control just about all cyborgs in the universe. And he arrived on Genesis when he was 19, and basically he's a kick-butt-all action guy. So I thought I'd give him two sidekicks. One is Nuke. He's an alien that arrived in the year 3997 on Genesis. and his other mental sidekick called Wisecrack. He's a portal-opening, shape-shifting butthead. He has like a huge red mohawk right down the middle, and kind of a wimpy body, and he's never serious. He's very fat. He bounces around and everything, and he's from another alternate dimension. We call it the What the Hell verse.
What happened to these mild-mannered teenagers? What strange power made them give up the mall to fight mutants from outer space?
It happened one day in a galaxy far, far away when we kind of got exposed to nuclear radiation.
The meltdown was powerful. Their job fighting evil aliens is consuming. The rewards, few.
My first issue was selling for 75 cents because it wasn't that large and could have been better. And my next issue is going to be 15 double-sided pages, and it's going to be selling for $1.50.
I assume you guys aren't making any money yet.
Oh yeah, we're making a lot of money.
Really?
Last couple, I made around $40.
Maybe that's a lot of money on the planet Genesis. Superman had a lot of trouble living a double life. He was misunderstood. But what about these guys? Are they seen as heroes or comic nerds?
All for it. My friends just love it. Like, when I was slowly getting my second issue done, my friend Scott, who's now out of the company.
Remember the first words? This is not going to work?
Yes, that's our first words.
Changed.
It's not going to work. We're never going to succeed. We're never going to get our first issue out. Now, about a year later, we're popular. Yes.
Ron McRae found his way into Drop-Off by accident. It wasn't a brush with kryptonite, it was a run-in at the flea market.
Me and Peter, darling, here. We were over at Rhoda's Flea Market, and Sean and Mike were there selling their comic books. So I said, hey, this looks pretty neat. Peter, I'm pretty sure that he could actually come up with a story. Sort of.
He has.
He has. And I know I can draw fairly good. So the next week I came by again, I showed them some of my stuff, and they just looked at it and they said, you're in.
So why do they do it? Altruistic ideals about truth and justice? So they can leap tall buildings and race locomotives with ink and paper? Is their quest as noble as their superheroes?
We can do basically anything we want. Say if we wanted to blow up the Earth, we'll blow up the Earth, you know. Or if we wanted to sink Yugoslavia into the ocean for some obvious reason, like because they make bad cheese or something like that, then we'll do that, you know.
For Information Morning, I'm Ann Sullivan.
So yeah, just a bunch of nerds drawing funny pages and publishing it. And yeah, you know what? I know. Yeah, I know. Back then, well, that was my brother talking mostly in the beginning there, and you know what? $40 for just drawing your first issue with a few pages. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound like a lot now, but yeah, back in the day, man, it was not too bad. Not too bad. And we were starting out as well, right? And it was our very first issue. Nobody really heard of us, right? We were taking a lot of feedback from people, hey, what do you think if we did our own comics? And there was, let me think, at the time there was like maybe 2 comic shops, and one of them was really just a bookstore, and they allowed us to sell our books in there. No, thanks, Joel. Yeah, that was amazing. Great work. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. but the point is, we took the initiative. We wanted to do something creative. And now that I know that obviously all of us that were doing this at the time have, we've now grown up. I mean, let's put it this way. I'm 50 right now, and I'm not even really thinking it that hard, my age, as a number. I just want to do it. And I would like to find a bunch of guys that want to do the same thing, and that just want to make something awesome and tell awesome stories. Because let's face it, the way things are going on with Marvel and DC, they're not even worth reading anymore. I mean, I and even some shops are just going just so, I don't know, just to pot. I think I just read recently Mile High Comics, the big famous comic book distributor, the one that sold comics. Like we all saw their ads like in Marvel Comics for example. They're doing stuff like putting on an all ages drag show. Think about that for a sec. I can share the screen. Then again, I don't know if I really want to, because it's just so, it's not cool. It's just not. Here. Mile High Comics grooms children with all ages drag show. You know what? And I'm just gonna leave it at that, because God, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Yeah, I never grew up, just out. Yeah. Growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional. Exactly. It's one of my little things. Yes, Dave, I won't ask you to think about that. But when you have it in comics, that should really, honestly, if you really think about it, I know we've grown up with, comics, most of us, and some of us even today still read them because, let's face it, there are new novels, and there are new, they're what novels were like, say, 50 to 100 years ago. Really like fine reading of sorts. That's kind of what comics are today for a lot of adults, but primarily they were supposed to be for kids. And now you're producing stuff like that in comics, and now even shops like Mile High are doing crap like this. What's happened to the world? And I think that's probably another reason why I want to do this, because I just want to bring back when the funny pages were just fun to read. And I know there are guys that are, that you can find on Twitter, for example, like, say, RT Bear. And I think there's another guy in Australia. What was his name? Liam Gray, I believe is his name. What does he do? He, God, I'm trying to remember. He's like in Australia, I know that much. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, but you got like other independent guys like, what was it? Cyberfrog. You have other people like, well, yeah, let's just put it that way. There's a lot of independent guys out there because of this whole thing called Comicsgate, where I think a lot of people just got kicked out of the industry because their views didn't line up with other people's, and so therefore they must be canceled. That are putting out a lot of their independent stuff on, say, Indiegogo and stuff like that. Yeah, thank you, Pop Culture Mechanic. If DC and Marvel would stop preaching at everyone, their comics would get better. Yes, they would. They honestly would. We don't buy your comics or go watch your movies or your TV shows to be preached at. If I wanted that, I'd be doing like, some nasty crap and get a lecture from my parents. But I'm 50 years old, so they really can't do that to me anyway. But then again, that's why I'm married, so I'd be getting preached at by my wife. So either way, I can't escape. But no, the whole point is we don't want it. We don't need it. Yeah, if I want to hear the message, I'll go and find it wherever it's going to be at. But I don't need it. I don't need it permeated in a culture that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. And Lenrod, yeah, the indie scene is where it's all over the place. Best games come out are indies. Best music is underground. Yeah, for sure, totally. Because because they're not sellouts. I know some of them ended up, selling out and whatnot, but not a lot of them. Yeah, gaming is becoming polluted. Comics are becoming polluted. Movies are becoming polluted. Friggin' TV shows. I mean, you see it all over the place. God, now the last thing that they're going to do is like Lord of the Rings. And then on top of that, the Predator movie that's going to be coming out as well. And that was filmed here in Alberta. And let me tell you, that's going to be a little bit woke as well, because it's going to be obviously, this Cherokee squaw, and this is not a derogatory term because that technically is the actual word for a woman of Native American heritage. It is. Fighting female predator. So, that's going to be polluted as well. Yeah, what was the other news that for gaming, for example, what was it? EA staff call off a walkout after the company promises not to use rainbow versions of the company's logo during their Pride Month. Like, God, just stop. Just stop. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. There you go. See, you made Anti-Derivative Jill's day and making it 150. Right on, dude. We love you. But yeah, Crimson Toys Predator, something that likes to search for something to change from living. Exactly. So that was another reason, because I love to tell a story, and I want it to be fun, and I want the reader to have fun, and I want to try to engage the reader in something cool. Not something that's just preached at. I want to have the audience on the edge of their proverbial seats as they're reading something, and I hope I can catch that. So, I'm gonna really try hard to work my butt off to really get my artwork up there. And I would like to come up with something for a title by next year. Maybe not on the exact date as when I published my my first book. And hey, but it wouldn't be too bad on the 30th anniversary. Anti-Derivative Jill, yeah, you want to tell a fun story? What a concept. Exactly right. Oh my God. I want to tell an actual story without preaching. Hey, Blaine, how's it going? Nice of you to drop in just in the nick of time. So, not that I'm going anywhere, but hey, you're here. So, right on. Welcome. What was I saying? Yeah, it's yeah. And Dave, not going to make, since rock and scissors, horses versus laser and rocket ships. Guess who wins? It's the horses, isn't it? It's always the horses. Oh, really? Just a few minutes before I go on, saw you were on. Yeah, well, thanks, dude, for dropping by before you go on yourself. So I really appreciate it. Um, I'm glad you can grace my humble abode of a YouTube channel and bless me with your presence. Um, space horses. I want space horses with freaking lasers on their head. Should do that. Riding rocket ships. It's gonna be huge. We're gonna have the horses with the lasers and rocket ships, and they're gonna be shooting sticks and stones. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the bestest ever. I'm not exactly on pitch, so forgive me, guys. But that's it. That's all I want to do. I just want to really practice hard, and I have been talking on and off. Hungry Boy and we've been exchanging emails, and I I can't think of anybody else really to go to talk to really get advice, and he's been offering some pretty good advice. So um, right now, because I am actually really trying to actively find work while I'm trying to work at home the best that I can because I need income coming in. But I do want to buy some life art books. And yes, that's right. Yep, The Hungry Boy. So because I needed his advice on a matter that I've been approached with. Um and because Hungry Boy, as far as we all know, some of us that are in the know, and for those of you that don't, Hungry Boy is obviously not his real name. He worked in the field for a few decades in Marvel. I'm not sure about DC. um he will not give out his real name, and rightfully so, because with his particular views, uh, he himself doesn't want to be canceled or anything like that, and rightfully so, and he shouldn't be put in that position whatsoever. um yes, right now he is hungry for more Orville, aka good writing. I know he constantly changes it all the time, doesn't he? And he's the one that gave me the compliment, hey, you're like 74 to 78 John Byron. So he is giving me advice, and he's telling me what to do and how to really improve myself, because I do want to put out a quality product. And you know what, if I don't put something out every month, then maybe I might make it bi-monthly, and I know it's going to be a lot of work, and it'll go on Indiegogo to try to get funded, but this is something I really want to do, to bring back some fun, and hopefully bring you guys along for the ride. Um, there are a few problems that I am kind of encountering right now, because I as you saw from the pages that I've shown you from the one book that I never did finish. It was actually going to be my fourth book. Aside from the Forever War stuff that I was doing. Um, as you could see, I was influenced by manga because I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed manga. Um, However, I do like a lot of North American comic art. Like, for example, like Walter Simonson or John Byron or Jim Lee, or yes, even Liefeld, because art to me, um, see, my mom's German, my dad's Austrian, and I grew up really appreciating classical art. And with so many diverse artists out there, like, from the Middle Ages and, through the Renaissance and whatnot, up to, postmodernism and whatnot. I enjoyed a lot of different artists out there. And that's kind of the way I see comic book artists, kind of in the same vein of sorts, right? You have many different types of styles out there, and I can appreciate a lot of them. Some of them are, kind of crappy, but and some of them really stand out. Say, for example, I don't know, Sam Keith for one, or Mark Texeira, um, Jim Lee, because he really draws nice, clean lines, and he can do a lot of technical stuff very, very well. But and like I said, Rob Liefeld, yeah, I know there are times he really goofs up on anatomy. Captain America cover, if you know exactly what I'm talking about, I need to say no more. Um, but I can appreciate the form that each one of these artists give. So I'm caught between, do I want to focus on more of a North American, kind of style, so to speak? Or do I want to focus more on, say, what I used to draw, which would be manga inspired? And I don't know which one to pick because I like both. And so kind of stuck in a way. And I kind of hate that artist block. And Lenrod, I can come up with stories, but I'm no writer. I don't human well. That's lies. I don't believe you. Yeah, that cat was a wide load. He was, wasn't he? Man, that chest came out like about a foot past his chin. So you do combine them. You know what? That's interesting. I was almost thinking that. Can it be done? Well, I shouldn't say can it be done. I mean, it can to a certain degree, but can I do it? That's the thing, because that's going to take a lot of practice. Not that I'm saying, I'm going to shy away from doing it, but you know what? That's interesting. I might. Realism background, manga foreground. Yeah, that could work. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, probably. And Blaine's Escape Corner. There's a good example. Give me a bit. I shall give you a bit, my good sir, because you popped in here. So yeah, I am open to suggestion. I am allowing myself to be meek, which technically means to be teachable. Anything that can help me, I greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it. So trying to go to the library. I actually went to the library over the weekend because on Saturday we had our Scottish Highland Games, and people were throwing the keyboard around, and no, they didn't serve any haggis. So I was a little disappointed in that. It just almost made me cry. It didn't like it. But after that, I went to the library, and unfortunately, they did not have any life drawing books, so I was rather disappointed. So they're going to try to see if they can find one for me and bring it here. And if that should happen, then I plan on checking out that book every 2 weeks until I am pro enough. Hypnotic suggestion. Maybe I could. Never had haggis. I wonder if it's any good. You know what? I will tell you this, Lenrod. Back in my late teens, in St. Andrews, I used to be in Sea Cadets. And there was a lot of old Legionnaires there, that are part of the Legion. And they had some sort of Scottish day going on, and I can't remember exactly what the day was called. But haggis was served. And after we were done serving all the people, because everybody was eating at the time, I was actually given some haggis. And you know what? I know that a lot of people in shows and in movies, whenever haggis is brought up, it's like, gross. No, it's disgusting. No, it's for me, it's not bad. Really, honestly, it is not bad whatsoever. Um, I would recommend trying it. It really is actually pretty damn good. Oh, you got a jet, Crimson? Hey, man, nice of you to drop by. I really, really, honest to God, I really appreciate it. Making dinner for the wife. Well, happy wife, happy life, right? So, no, you know what, man? Appreciate you dropping in. Hit the like, and hey, dude, every Tuesday we're gonna have the live chat here. So if I don't speak to you out there in the ether, I will hopefully see you next Tuesday. So keep the wife happy, dude. Appreciate you for dropping by. And pop culture mechanic. Ah, no haggis. I would have cried in my kilt. I almost did, but it was breezy, and I am not wearing no underwear, and I didn't have a kilt. So, yeah. So sorry. If you're of Scottish descent, yeah, probably you would have cried. Yeah. So, oh, Jill, if you got to go, also, yeah. If you got to go and serve dinner, then thank you also for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Unless, of course, you're sticking around, so I will recant on that. Unless I don't have to. So, okay. Uh, if if I can eat my own cooking, I can eat anything. Haggis is no big deal. There you go. That's a trooper for you. But no, after that, the point of the story is, yeah, went to the library. They didn't have any books on life drawing, so I'm going to see if I can find one. And also on top of that, Hungry Boy did suggest going through the How to Draw the Marvel Way, and curiously enough, when I was a kid, I actually had that book. I honestly God actually had that book, and I wish I still had that book because then I'd be drawing from it now. But I got a digital copy of it, so kind of okay. So I'm going to pay attention more to that. Yeah, I'm German Pollock. No kilt here either. Well, like I said, my mom's German, my dad's Austrian. So with me, it was like, mashed potatoes, the occasional sauerkraut with sausage, and a lot of goulash. So it was pretty good. That's why I guess I grew up a little thick, I suppose. But then again, I'm 6'1" on top of that, so I can't complain. Thank you, Mother, for cooking so well. I appreciate and I love you. And I'm not saying that because I'm the firstborn. I'm only partially saying that because I'm the firstborn. So, um, yeah. If you guys have any hints or have any tips, I will gladly listen. Other than that, that's the plan. That's the plan. Get my drawing up to snuff. Make a comic, publish it, put it out there, and see how this thing flies. And if I can do it by sometime next year, super. Then it's an awesome way of bringing back and celebrating 30 years of since I last did this. And it'll be pretty fun, I think. So I'll be 51. It's not too bad. Not a bad way to start off the second half of a century, I suppose you could put it that way, right? So oh, you're in the middle. Sorry, dude. So that means you're often overlooked, huh? Well, I'm not overlooking you. So you are a valued member of this community. So yeah, so the other thing is on top of that, it's kind of weird how things are kind of happening with certain things, because it just seems there's a lot of stuff going on that are really video and TV movie orientated as well, in life going on right now, because what's been going on is more and more I'm talking with a producer that's done a few shows. I have to check back what's going on with that animation character design. Um, and on top of that, he's willing to give me the chance to do one pages. And a one page is when you have a idea or a synopsis for a show. You literally put it on a sheet of paper, and that's your pitch to a producer. Of say, I don't know, Warner Brothers or Fox or whatever, right? You make your pitch and it's on one sheet of paper. And also asked me if I would be interested in doing storyboards. So again, that kind of works with drawing. That being the case, I just want to get better at it, because then doing storyboards is kind of almost like, again, doing comics as well. So, although I'd rather just do the comics, because that's just more fun and that's more personable and that's more me. So, and wow, we're heading on to 2 hours again. So again, it's the best 6 minutes that you guys have ever had of me ranting and raving, and for Pop Culture Mechanic and also for Blaine, that's an inside joke that goes on over here. So I believe, who was it again? Was it Lenrod that mentioned it? Yeah. It says that 6 minutes have gone by. Yes. Glorious 6 minutes. Oh my God. Just, you know what? Remind me. I'm gonna have to come up with, dude, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay. Because I got a shop, right? Where I sell works that I've done for X Transbots for their work, and where I've done the scale posters that I've sold all over the world. So also check it out. Check out my store at Freelance Graphics, and that's graphics with a K at the end, not a C. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in the description here. freelancegraphics.com. There you go. Let me wrap this up 20 minutes later. Yeah, exactly. That's your what King Dolphin would say is a Minnesota goodbye. Um, if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. So yeah, so if you check out Freelance Graphics, my merchandise is there, scale posters that I've sold all around the world, and that's been picked up by third-party companies that produce Transformers. Plus, on top of that, the box art that I've done for X Transbots can be found there as well. So you can get it as a 24 by 36 poster. So that's pretty much like movie poster size. Same thing with the scale charts. They are 24 by 36. So it makes for a lovely display on your nerdy wall. More like a Midwest goodbye. Yeah, either way, I'm good with that. So I'm thinking about maybe producing a type of t-shirt. I figure, you know what? Why not? So, and I think that might be one of those slogans. I'm going to design it. Lenrod, if I can, once I get some money, you know what? Because you came up with that phrase, I'm going to make you one. I'll send it to you. How about that? Blaine, yeah, okay, so you gotta go. Peace, dude. Thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. If you can, leave a like, and hey, spread the word. And I shall also do the same thing for you and Pop Culture Mechanic as well, so you guys can get subs and you guys can get notice as well. So everybody here in the chat, if you want to check out his channel as well, I will give you permission to leave your link so people can also check you out. So So yeah, so we're at 2 hours, and I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Blaine and Lenrod and Dave CT, and you know what, and Annie Derivative Jill and Pop Culture Mechanic and Crimson Toys also. And I know you left, but I'm going to say thank you anyway, just in case you come back and listen to the rest of the show. Who else did we have show up here tonight before we have to shut down? Very rarely do I sing, but I'm gonna sing right now because I'm trying to occupy time as I'm looking for more names. Phantom Outsider, also, thank you for dropping by. And we did have one other gentleman that did also stop by earlier. Snail Messiah, also, thank you for dropping by. And I believe if this is the same person that I think it was, Jack Lumen, thank you for dropping by. And I do believe King Dolphin, RN Feliciano. And you know what? I'm going to include Mrs. Feliciano as well because they are a pair and they are the best wrenches out there on multiple channels. So they do an awesome job. And also Chauncey Hayworth, also thank you very much for dropping by, all of you guys tonight. Thank you for keeping me talking for 2 hours as I rant and rave. So yes, so good night. Just sitting to dinner now. Jill, thank you very much for dropping by. Really appreciate it. I know I already said it, but I'm going to say it again because you're still here. Can't wait to see what you create. Yeah, I hope to produce something really good. Yes, and Dave, yeah, it's been fun. Good night, all. Enjoy your dinner. And thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate you guys on another Titillating Tuesdays, the 10th live video that I've done. Please, if you can, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, spread the word, help me grow. You know what? And even if it helps me grow, then hopefully I can just produce more content and hit that 4,000 hours and make it to 1,000. And if I can get monetized, then, you know, hopefully I can just produce a lot more stuff because then eventually maybe I can make that my income and just produce a lot more really cool content. Maybe just be at home, producing more issues, making something happen, something fun, something memorable. So, you know what? Instead of doing another drawn out 6 minutes, I'm going to say thank you all for sticking around, for chatting, for having fun with me, and for helping me reminisce. This is the Comic Relief Crusader. Stay tuned. Later.